Screened by a copse of ancient trees, Weelsby Hall in Grimsby is a hidden gem of significant social, architectural and cultural interest in North East Lincolnshire. The hall was commissioned in 1890 as the family home of Sir George Frederick Slight, 1st Baronet of Weelsby, reflecting his wealth and status in society.
He started out his business empire as a youth. He'd have a donkey cart, he'd go down to Cleethorpes foreshore and he would collect cockles. So he'd then take them on a donkey cart to Grimsby and sell them. And that's how he started his empire.
It was the beginning of a business empire that would eventually see George own the biggest fleet of fishing trawlers in the world.
He ended up with a smokehouse, engineering works, shipbuilding premises. And then he decided he needed a country seat, and so in 1890 he then bought some land off Edward Heneage, and that became what is known as a campus now. He had 5 daughters and 4 sons that lived here with his wife. And the ground floor plan shows a drawing room, and the drawing room has beautiful painted flower garlands around the walls and ceiling, and they were done by a travelling Italian artist. And then there's the dining room, the sitting room, and then we've got the billiard room as well, and the marvellous hall with a galleried landing. Every room had a fireplace. Each one is different, the tiles are different, and some of them are beautiful tiles. And on the whole, they're pretty well intact.
When the last of the Slight family departed, several uses were considered for the hall in the 1970s. Some tried, but by 1980 the hall had fallen into disuse and disrepair. In 1971, a group of educationalists recognising the lack of post-16 education for young people with learning disabilities began to consider how this could be provided.
Well, I think that we were all working with young people, particularly those with special needs at the time. We recognised that at school leaving age there was no extra provision for them. So we wanted to provide a period of 2 years at least further education.
And subsequently in about 76 we registered that group as a charity. We opened our first college at Toynton Hall near Spilsby in April 1979.
And we could see that it would provide somewhere where these young people could learn to be independent and gain work skills, social skills, and the skills you need to make friends and live independently. It was a tremendous need. Within 2 years we had a 2-year waiting list. By the time it was 3 years we had a 3-year waiting list for places. So we had to open another development which led to the development of Weelsby Hall.
We became aware of this property, and when we visited we saw its potential, especially its grounds, which were consistent with those the environment that we have at Toynton Hall.
The Weelsby Hall campus was first opened in 1982 and expanded in 1986 to give learners the experience of a hall of residence, where they were encouraged and supported to gain extensive independent skills.
When we first took the property over, we carefully adapted the huge rooms into bedrooms, but were careful to maintain the care of the building insofar as you can take out the stud walls that we put up and adapted, and it still leaves the architrave and everything else still there. fireplaces were not removed, and so this became a real hub of a core part of Linkage, because it was a residential college, the whole building. And what always surprised visitors was the quality of the building, why it didn't get damaged by all these young adolescent people who were running around and tearing around. But they took great pride in it. It says something about how you regard people with a disability and the students in terms of the physical environment in which you provide for them.